You got to watch Unsung this Sunday, March 21st at 9 p.m. on TV1 because it is featuring the one and only Mr. Morris Day, and he is here. How are you, Mr. Day?
Yes, I'm good, Clay. How you doing, man?
I'm good. It's an
Yeah,
honor to talk to you, sir.
hey,
I mean,
you as
it's an
well.
yeah. I'm gonna internally just geek out. It's an honor to talk to you. I got to tell you, when I heard that you were doing Unsung, I was like, Morris Day ain't Unsung. Not to me, not to me. But what's great about this series is that it really goes into the details in the life of artists that you may not know all the background details. So tell us why you agreed to do Unsung.
Um, Quarantine. You know, normally, I would be out and about doing my thing, and a lot of times stuff like this comes across my desk, and I'm like, maybe not right now, but just having so much time to sit around, it was perfect timing to reflect and go through the stages that they want me to go through and reflect on my life, and so it was a timing issue.
I hear that. I
Yeah.
got to say though, your book is really. If you can watch this on YouTube, it's behind you. Your book, On Time: A Princely Life and Funk. I mean, you're going to get it all in Unsung, but you can get even more in the book.
Yeah,
you
it's in the book.
know, you can get it, you can get it more in the book. All
That's
right,
true.
so there's so many things that I want to talk to you about, and a lot of it is in Unsung. So again, you could hear more of it on March 21st. But I wanted to ask you this: one of the things that you discuss in Unsung, because I saw it, is that for Purple Rain, you didn't get that much money for it. You got like about 50 some thousand dollars, which isn't a lot.
Right.
And yeah, and also your songs weren't on the album, and you wanted them to be on the album, but that didn't work out either. So I've always wanted to ask you this, and you also spoke about how Prince would sometimes you would go to perform somewhere and he would change his mind and cancel, and you had to like try and get your money back.
Right.
So when you heard about Prince fighting back against Warner Brothers and saying he was being treated like a slave because they weren't paying him fairly, how did you feel about that, considering your own experiences with the legend himself?
It was, it's a little hypocritical, if nothing else, because it's like do unto others, that scenario. I understood it. I've never fought with Prince, about money and things like that, and possibly I should have, but I sort of considered it more of a family situation. And at times I don't think he felt the same way. And so and trust me, not to hate, Prince was my brother, and brothers fight, but that there was some very tilted situations that really went in his favor and definitely not in mine.
Yeah, yeah, I could. Yeah, you kind of picked that up from the book, and but
Yeah.
like you said, that's part of the journey. It's family. For folks who don't know, tell us a little bit about your roots in music, because you were originally a drummer. You were a
Right.
drummer, and Prince said you should be the front man. So tell us, folks, about your journey in music from the beginning.
Well, my thing is, drummers, are sort of the unsung, but a lot of great singers started out drumming. If you want to, Phil Collins, Maurice White, Jeffrey Osborne, um, what's my guys with the Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl. A lot of great frontmen have come from the drums, and I think maybe just being able to get that beat, like James Brown once said, you know, everything's a drum. It's all about rhythm. He said you got to approach it like a drum, and so I think that being a drummer is a great platform to spring into being a singer. If you're able to do both, and that's. But I think a lot of great singers come from the drums.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And with Purple Rain, when you read that script, Mr. Day, were you able, could you tell was going to be iconic? Because I sometimes you just never know from what I hear actors say. Like, were you like, this is going to be it? Or were you like, all right, we'll just see what happens?
I was definitely the latter. We'll just see what happens, because what happened was, Prince comes up, we're going to do a movie. I'm like, okay. I never done a movie before. So, it was an innocent effort, and I read the script, and Al Magnoli, the director, said, sat me and Jerome down, and he's like, okay, guys, this is what was written. And he was like, well, what would you say in this scenario? And we went through the whole script like that. So what that did for us was we were able to really customize the script so it really felt like what we would say. I mean, a lot of directors wouldn't offer that to an actor, if you know what I'm saying. A lot of directors, they want it delivered, because I've worked with different directors. They want to deliver it the way it's written, and they don't want you to deviate from that at all. So, we got to do that. And I think that was a brilliant idea because it really came across, I think, real, you know?
Right, right. And I don't know if you can answer this or not. I've heard various stories. What happened with Vanity? Did they just get into an argument and she hit it? Like what? Because she was originally in Apollonia's role. Do we know what happened? Why she left?
Yeah, it was, it had become personal. It
Mm,
become personal, or should I say intimate. So, when you get to that level, you know what I'm saying? If you have a disagreement, it's like I'm not just breaking off the relationship, I'm breaking off your role in the movie. So you're out of it.
right, right. Oh wow, I see, I see.
Yeah,
But you and her stay cool because didn't you work on her? Weren't you a part of her debut album? Didn't you do some vocals for her? Because you and
I,
her remain cool over the year.
I
Yeah,
wrote I wrote on her album. I wrote Mechanical Emotion, and
yeah,
I think that was it. But Vanity was cool people. I really, I thought that the I thought that was her role in Purple Rain, is what I'm trying to say. And I can't say that it would have been better, but it would have been more um, realistic for me had she, and not to hate on Apollonia, she did a great
right,
job.
right.
But
Sure.
it was Vanity's role.
Yeah. Have you heard? It's all over YouTube. Have you heard Vanity's version of Sex Shooter?
No, I haven't.
It's all over YouTube, Mr. Day. It's
Okay,
really good.
okay,
It's a little funkier. Like there's something else too, and I love Apollonia too, but it's a
yeah,
little funkier. It's all over YouTube. I know.
okay,
I'm sure Prince would be outraged by it, but her version of Sex Shooter is
okay.
all over YouTube. Yeah, it's
I'm
really really good. Like
gonna check it out.
yeah, you gotta check it out. All right, I have to ask you this because I've heard this over the years. There was reportedly a moment in Prince's career where folks said that he was trying to say that he was biracial, and I think even Rick James said that Prince doesn't want to be black. Uh, but I thought that was more the record label rather than him. And even in Purple Rain, I believe the person who played his mother was a white woman, but that wasn't a biopic. It was just the movie. But did you catch that from Prince? Was he trying to, you know, play like a racially ambiguous card?
I think I don't think in his real world that he was trying, but I do know that Prince knew that the real pop star money was in the crossover market. So I think he somehow felt like he had to appeal to the white market, which he worked hard to do, to become a pop star as he did, and at the level that he did. So I just think he was just trying to, make himself accessible to everybody.
Wow. And saying that he had a white parent made it more accessible.
I think so in his mind. Yeah.
Ain't that something? It's interesting. But it was a different time. It was a
Yeah.
different time, right? It was a different time. And
Absolutely.
yeah, it was much different time. All right. So one of my favorite songs is Get It Up. I love Get It Up. What did you think of TLC's version, which was on the Poetic Justice soundtrack? What were your thoughts on that?
I think they did a great job. I think they did a great job. I think they kind of homogenized it, sort of, because "Get It Up" was a real raw, funky song, and it had the guitar solos, and it was just raw. And so TLC put the smooth vocals on it, and they kind of made it more of a pop sounding record, in my opinion. And they did it. They did a good job with that.
Yeah, and T-Boz, she does kind of have I could see her doing something like funk elements. Like her voice was so interesting at the time. That was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
so interesting.
absolutely,
And she
absolutely.
also redid If I Was Your Girlfriend. TLC did rather. They
Yeah,
redid If I Was Your Girlfriend. Yeah, yeah. So all right. So then of course Purple Rain, it blows up. It's huge. My mother was obsessed with you. When I tell my mother it was a lot. It was a lot. She would, yeah, it was crazy.
Oh,
Uh, but Graffiti Bridge. What were your Graffiti Bridge didn't get the same kind of reception. What were your what was your perception of Graffiti Bridge?
well, I knew, going and not trying to sound like I'm psychic or anything, but I knew going into that project that we were taking the wrong approach. I felt like Graffiti Bridge was done in the sound on a sound stage at Paisley Park. It had a surreal look and vibe to it, where in some ways, I think Purple Rain was more of a real world street movie and more raw. And I just thought we should have approached it more like a Purple Rain 2. And I think Prince's creative genius sometimes made him overthink and overdo things. And I just think that that movie just went in the wrong direction.
Hmm. When you see some of the artists out there today, you could see the influence of so many artists from from the 80s, but in the 70s and 90s and so on. But I feel like a lot of the artists today, that the male artists, they don't have the same kind of freedom. Like I feel like, y'all back in the day, y'all might mess around with some eyeliner, might mess around here or there, but now it just feels so hyper masculine, and not you don't even get a lot of love songs anymore. Well, what are your thoughts on some of the R&B you see today?
Well, it's a different day musically for me, and a lot of it is hard to digest. Um, you're right about the hyper masculine thing, and everybody's got to be hardcore and all of that. And I've even heard people say, "Hey, you guys were metrosexual and all that," and I was like, well, whatever that means. I'm like, whatever that means. I was like, but we was about looking good, sounding good, and just being good. And no excuses offered up for that. That's just how we did it. And it's just a different day. And the young people, they do things the way they are comfortable doing them. I don't agree with a lot of it, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And you had no training, right? You had no musical training. Is that accurate?
That's accurate. I tried at some point to get formal training when I was a drummer, and I think and also keyboards. And I think that trying to go back and reestablish myself as a trained musician was somehow messing with my creativity. So I had to just
Mm.
back off of that and keep training myself by ear.
But can I say your son, Darian Day, he has a cover of Adele's Hello
Yeah,
online, and
yeah,
it's incredible.
yeah. Darren,
It's
yeah,
incredible.
it's Darren,
Darren.
Darren. Yeah.
Darren, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. But he is man. If I only could wish I had a voice like my son. He's incredible. He's got a lot of covers. I think he takes these a lot of people's songs and does them better than the original artist. And so, we're working on his career right now, and I'm really happy that he chose to
Yeah.
follow footsteps. And not like the business is all. Uh, is all fun and games and all nice. The business can be ugly. And so the only thing good about that, him getting into it for me is that I'll be able to, help him with some advice and maybe help him not go through some of the things that I went through.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you looking forward to folks, if they haven't read your book for some reason, what are you looking forward to folks learning about you most with Unsung?
you know, I'm not so sure that I'm looking forward to people learning all, all the things that they're going to learn about me, but I'll just say that there's some very honest moments. And, real life is not always pretty.
Hmm.
And so just as long as, people understand, if they read my book or they watch Unsung Sunday, just know real life is not pretty. We all know that. A lot of times with entertainers, you get to see the upside, the glamorous side, them doing their things. But there's always a real life element, and that's what that will expose.
One thing that I feel like I learned from your story and just being a fan of your work is about just fighting for your voice and fighting for your autonomy. You know what I mean? And that could be whether you're a musician, whether you're a writer, whatever it is, of you making certain decisions as a creative person. Like no matter who I'm attached to, I got to fight for myself as a creative person and go forward. And I just wonder, do you see it that way as well as far as fighting for your art?
No, that's absolutely right. Just like we talked about earlier, Prince fighting the system, but yet and still having his thumb, so to speak, on the Times career and mine. You know, especially, the system, can try and hold you down. In this case, he was the system, unfortunately, and so I had to make a decision and move on it. It was costly for me, but it was important to me. So
Yeah,
yeah, it is your creativity and your creative expression is worth fighting for.
that's right. That's right. Uh, any contact with Wendy and Lisa? I used to love them.
We've reached out to them to see, because I think they have one of these at the Revolution. I think is theirs, to see if they, want to do some stuff. But everybody's been real low key and
Yeah.
and I guess everybody is. I ain't saying senior citizens, but not youngsters. Some people are trying to kind of scared to get out there, back out there. So I'm sure we'll end up talking at some point. Yeah.
Once again, the one and only Mr. Morris Day, front man for the time. Check out Unsung this Sunday, 9 p.m. on TV1. But I recommend folks to read the book On Time, A Princely Life and Funk. I really enjoyed it.